Heidi ho there, friends and neighbors. Bobby here this evening, and I have a little tutorial, how-to tutorial here on shaping gun holsters, okay? I'm not actually going to perform it here for you tonight because I don't have another holster that I need to shape, but I'm going to explain to you how I have shaped the two holsters that you see here in front of you, okay? We'll start with this K-frame Smith & Wesson holster, and let me go ahead and just safety check the gun. And we are empty today. Make sure that's nice and empty. A few weeks ago, I was at a gun range, and they had these holsters here. I believe they were Targa brand or something like that, and they were made for one specific gun. And they had these sitting right out in front, like right when you walk in the door, because they were getting rid of this brand of holster, and they had them all marked down to $10 a piece, okay? And I knew I wanted a nice leather holster for my K-frame here, but I didn't see one for this particular gun. But this actually was made for a Ruger, some type of Ruger pistol, and it was a little bit bigger, okay? I just took a chance. I didn't have my gun with me. So I brought it home, and when I got here, stuck the gun in there, and with it all the way in there, it fit kind of sloppy, sort of a sloppy fit, and it really wasn't the right holster for the gun. So I decided, oh well, I only got $10 invested in it. Let's see if we can reshape it, because I had this idea in my head that I'm going to tell you the story about in a little bit, about where I got this idea from. But so what we did, we took the holster, okay? We filled up the sink with some warm to hot water, and I just dropped it in there, okay, and let it soak till the leather got, nice and wet and impregnated with water once again, to where it was nice and soft and pliable, where I can move it around, okay? And then I took it out, let it kind of drip dry a little bit, get all the bulk of the water out of the holster, and where it wasn't sitting here dripping all over the place, where it's just still good and damp and pliable. I took some saran wrap, okay? Took some saran wrap. We'll just try to knock a piece off here right quick. I'll kind of show you how I done that. And just kind of wrap some saran wrap around your pistol or your gun or whatever. Don't get it too much on there, because you'll have it so thick on there you won't get the right shape for your gun. But you can basically just kind of wrap that around your gun just to keep the moisture off of it. And then you can shove it into the damp holster, okay? And you can just start working it. A lot of this you can work by hand. Like, it was actually made for a Ruger, I think, that had like the way the gun, the barrel and everything was made. It had I can't remember what you call this thing on the housing that comes down, some of the guns where it's thicker than it is on this K-frame. So I actually kept squeezing and working till it fit around here. I got it fitting around here really good, around the trigger base. I took a spoon, like a baby spoon that I had left over from when the kids were small, and I just took that spoon and I kept working in around that trigger to where I could get me a little bit of retention on this holster, and kept working with it till it kind of stayed in the position that I wanted it to be in, okay? And then I removed the holster, and what I did with that holster shaped the way that I had worked with it, I put it on top of a little baking pan like this, flipped upside down, and I put it in the oven, okay, on 150 degree temperature, the lowest setting that you can turn it on and crank it up, 150 degrees. That's not hot enough to melt plastic or anything, but it is hot enough to start drawing that moisture out of that leather. So I stuck it in there and let it cook for a couple hours while me and the kids were watching a movie. We're watching a movie or something on TV. Just let it sit in there until it baked all the moisture out of the holster, and sure enough, I got me now a nice holster that fits my K-frame Smith & Wesson here. Let's see if I can get this saran wrap off now. There we go. And as you can see, this thing fits nicely now, okay? It's got good retention. The gun's not going to fall out. And this is like a paddle holster, and I'm left-handed, so you know this is exactly what I wanted. Paddle holster, go around your belt, and you can, you know, easily draw the gun out. It's got good retention and everything. So actually, I made this holster fit this gun. Okay, now I'll tell you. After I done that, and I was successful at that, I had this other holster for a Glock. Let me go ahead and clear this right quick. Take the magazine out. We'll check this. Okay, so for this little Glock, this holster here that I bought, see, I'm left-handed, and it's hard sometimes to find left-handed holsters. Not too many stores will keep them in stock. But I had picked this one up here a while back just to try it out. But believe it or not, this was a right-handed holster. Okay, I purchased this as a right-handed holster, and I have turned it into a left-handed holster. It's just a little pancake holster. Okay. So what I did is I, on a different occasion, threw it in the sink full of hot to warm water and got it, you know, soggy with water until actually the whole thing just kind of flattened right back out, okay? Done it the same way. Wrapped the gun in saran wrap, and after I took the holster out and got most of the moisture out and everything, just kind of where it wasn't dripping, you know, shoved it onto the gun, and kept molding and shaping the leather until I turned it into a left side holster, okay? And, you know, took my little baby spoon, worked here on around my trigger to make sure, you know, I have some retention on that as well. You can also take it and work up here where your where the gun ejects the bullets. You can kind of press down on that a little bit so we have a little bit of retention there. And another thing that I did with it is I took a paint stick, shoved it in here. Hold on, let me pull the gun out. I don't know if I'll be able to do it with the gun in there. But when I got it kind of like I wanted it shaped and everything, I shoved that in there just to keep that pulled over nice. And just like that, friends, I stuck it in the oven on 150 degrees and baked it for, you know, an hour and a half or so until it drew all the moisture out of it. So friends, I don't know if I'm the only one that's ever baked a holster in the oven or not, okay? But I'll tell you where I got that idea from, okay? Now, I know people shape holsters with wetting them and everything, but I see where most of them just kind of sit them out in the sunlight. But I'm kind of impatient, you know, I kind of wanted to get the job done, so that's why I've done the oven thing. And where I got the idea from that was when I was a kid, okay? We lived at home, and my dad and I and my brother, we all had these remote control cars, okay? And this is when I was a teenager. And my brother was about 3.5 years younger than me. I must have been about, I don't know, 16. He was like 13 or something like that. And we all had these cars and we raced them in the living room, okay? We really got into this. I mean, these cars were like 1/8 scale, I guess it was. You know, about this long, about that wide, about that tall. And they had like suspension on them, and you could adjust them and make them handle differently and everything. And we had different size tracks set up. We'd put these encyclopedias out on the floor, and we'd make like a short track and a mid-sized track and a long track, and we'd have to set our cars up to race this these races on this hardwood floor in our living room, okay? And I mean, we were into this. This was like something, we were serious about it. And I was always looking for an extra edge. I mean, I would take my tires and sand them and try to make them where they would grip better and everything, and even took the body off the car and cut something to where I could actually lower the body on the car, where I could get up underneath them and spin them out. And then of course they ended up just making a little bar that they put at the back of their car to keep me from doing that. But we were always doing stuff trying to get an extra advantage, especially me. And one time I took the rubber tires off of the car, and I decided that I was going to soften the compound of these little tires on this remote control car. So I was already at the age that I was starting to mess around with real cars anyway, so I had carburetor cleaner out in the garage growing up. And I took those tires out there and I soaked them in the carburetor cleaner, thinking that that would soften the compound of those tires to give my car more grip, okay? So anyway, I soaked them, you know, I was all proud of the idea that I had and everything. And I got them out of there, rinsed them off, and, you know, dried them off and everything, and brought them back inside and went to put them on my car. And the doggone things swole up. They had swole up so big that they wouldn't fit on the rims. My tires would not stay on my car, okay? And of course my dad laughed at me, my brother laughed at me, you know, for me trying to be sneaky and do something like that, and I ended up screwing up my car. Well, Dad had the idea, okay? He said, I'll bet you if we put those tires in the oven and just cook them real low, like on 150 or so, it'll dry all of that stuff out of there. So that's what we did, and sure enough, it worked. It drew them tires right back up to where I could actually continue racing. So my dad still picks on me about that to this day, and probably when he watches this video, he's going to get a kick out of it. But anyway, friends, back to the main topic of the video. That's one way that I found to reshape a holster, okay? Just get wetted down, shape it, and stick it in the oven at a low temperature and just let it dry out, and that gets the job done pretty quick. So friends, thank you for watching the video tonight. Don't forget to subscribe, tell a few friends about us, and we will see you next time. Take care.